Please and thank you. Let me know that you guys can hear me. It's going to take a second for this live to go. I don't even remember where to look on this phone. Um, Trying to see. I'm waiting for my computer to catch up. But hopefully the audio is working. Von Yunzer said, gotcha. Okay, hopefully the audio is working. I am using my Rode wireless mic. You guys, if you caught me on my Sunday stream, yeah, this is the second stream in a week. My hair looks horrible. I just got out of the shower like a few minutes ago. So, yeah. Anyways, it's my second stream in a week, and my phone's backwards, so I gotta look over here. I'm used to looking over here. It's flip-flopped, sorry. I'm gonna try to look at you guys, but hopefully everything's working. It's been a while since I went live in general, but also from my phone. I've been using StreamYard because my microphone's been having issues, but I have that new wireless mic that I mentioned in Sunday's live stream, and here we are testing out on Friday. So this will allow me to walk around the phone. Granted, I'm going to have a tether on the phone because the microphone's got like its receiver, but we'll make do. I really wanted to use this because this seems to stream better quality than StreamYard, and I wanted to show you guys all the algae in the tank behind me, because this tank, while it's probably my best tank in the house as far as what's going on inside, looks the worst because of all the algae. But anyways, I wanted to be able to show you that because it's doing really good with the babies of the Brilliant Bristlenose. They're just doing really good in there, and I'm letting it go. I'm not scrubbing the glass or anything, just letting the algae grow because the baby pluckos are loving it. I have a Charlotte down here at my feet, and Havana's coming in right now. They're being pretty needy tonight. I'm not sure why, but it's just them being normal, I guess. I do have to work tomorrow, so that kind of sucks. But Mr. Mellowhead was the first one here tonight, so welcome. And he said, nice to see you back, buddy. And then we had John S. Was second. Baron Von Yunzer, good to see you. Fish and Floral, good to see you. Fish and Floral said, SC, I wanted to order a bunch of snails, but the website wouldn't let me. Only 10 didn't seem worth it, so I stuck to dry goods. So, was that your the root tab order? If so, from like last night. If so, that shipped out today. Priority mail. So with priority mail, it's supposed to be 3 days and under, but with shipping, I have no idea. Hopefully, it's there in 3 days. But thank you so much for your order. Snails wouldn't have added any extra shipping cost. Snails are grouped in with plants, so they don't like automatically charge more. You still got free shipping, even if you got 10 snails. The reason why there's only 10 is that I'm not running my big. I had a 29-gallon full ram's horns. I'll show you the 29-gallon right now. It's got ram's horns in it, just not a ton. I used to have like thousands of ram's horns, but now I don't. So if there's only 10, that's just because I haven't added any more to inventory. I guess I need to sit there and really look into how many I can quote unquote spare. But yeah, but thank you so much for your order. I appreciate you. I think that was your 6th order, if I remember right. Anytime somebody orders through the website, it says, hey, this is their first order, this is their 100th order. And I do notice that stuff. So I appreciate your return visit. All right, so what's new with you guys? I didn't really have a topic for tonight. I feel like I'm like my head's chopped off. I don't know if that's any better, but nothing crazy. Well, I guess there is some crazy things that happened at work this week. Like unfortunate things, or unfortunate thing, only one thing. I'll talk about that in a second. It doesn't involve me. Just actually a contractor to our new building got hurt. He's fine, but it was traumatizing to see. Is the 614 FERT still available? Yes, but I don't know how many I have left, if I'm being honest, because I'm just checking my inventory right now. I know there's not very many left, if there is any at all. Somebody bought um, 5 of them like 2 weeks ago. And I remember thinking like, oh man, there's not very many left. Yep, there are. It says I have 8 bottles left. 8 bottles, and then Fish and Floral says I highly recommend 614 root tabs. There is 1 bottle of root tabs left. So if anybody wants root tabs, there's only one left, and I don't know if I'll be bringing those back. So I on Sunday I mentioned I'm shutting down. Eventually, I'm going to shut down the website, and I'm going to be solely selling through like eBay. Um, the root tabs are doing great with you guys, like with enthusiasts. You guys know like how to use root tabs and what plants really need them and thrive on them. eBay, you get people that just, I mean, you have a lot of experienced people on eBay, but you also get a lot of people that just they see plant fertilizer, then like they just see the root tabs and they don't know that root means you got to put in the roots, and they throw them into their tank and they float and they think it's supposed to like dissolve into the tank. Like it's kind of crazy, but root tabs are gel caps, so they are filled. Um, I don't want to give like sources, but I'm nearly convinced. Nearly, I don't know for fact. In my head, I have my opinion that my fertilizer and root tabs come from the same company that do a big aquarium company that's online. I'm not saying names, but if you can think of a big aquarium company online, I think their root tabs and fertilizer are from the same company that I get mine from. To be honest, I have a theory, and I'm pretty sure we use the same company here in the United States, the fertilizer and the root tabs. If you guys know, I tried to make my own root tabs. I did. The problem was hand loading the pills was time consuming. Time consuming is all get out. Like so, so this is the root tab bottle. This is what I use. There's no label on it. Um, to You have to make the formula, mix it really well because you want it to be distributed into all your capsules, and load them all. So I bought a pill loader off eBay. I think it did like 100 of these capsules at once. It was so messy and so time consuming because you think like, oh, like you have to hand load all these little capsules into the thing. Like they have this like spreader thing that's supposed to like kind of flip them in their right side up, like orientation. It doesn't work that well. And then you got to spread it, and then try to make sure everyone's getting the same amount of fertilizer. Like, granted, it's not like medicine where it needs to be like dead nuts perfect, but it needs to be consistent. And it was just so time consuming making them. But so what I did is I made my own for testing, and came up with a formula. And then the company that makes these, I'm pretty sure does other root tabs, if you know what I mean. Um, but they are gel caps. And I talked to my buddy Mike about who the other company is that use these, and the other company sells them in a plastic bottle, versus like a plastic baggie now. But anyways, it's not going to be the exact same formula. Each company is going to have their formula, my formula, but I'm sure they're pretty much similar. And same thing with the liquid fertilizer. The 614 Fert, I I don't know if people thought like it's just water that I say is fertilizer. It's professionally made by a company that I'm pretty sure does the largest United States aquarium fertilizer company. That's all I'm saying. It's really good stuff, and I know I'm promoting my own product, but I know what I got. It's good. Um, so when I'm done, I mean, I still want to do 614 products. for multiple reasons. Because I'm proud of them. I know that they're great. The second thing was when sorry, I'm trying to get this out. So I like props. So when I made labels for them, so here's the labels for the fur. I 3D printed this. This is a label holder. So I basically custom printed this so I could set this on desk and pull out the labels, right? Well, I had these labels made, but to get like a decent price to where these aren't like $1 a piece, I had to order a crap ton of labels to get the price down. So I really want to try to get another order of liquid fertilizer so that way I can use up. So I feel like I'm not wasting paper, stickers, and money of investing into that. But the root tabs are really good. Yeah, and there's only one bottle left of that, the last case I got. But as soon as that sells, I'll think about. I'll probably wait until the liquid fertilizer because, like I said, the liquid fertilizer and the root tabs come from the same company. So I think once the liquid fertilizer runs down or out or low, and if I decide to do a reorder, then I'll do it at the same time, get more root tabs and more liquid fertilizer. But yeah. All right. Let me get out of this page. Fish and fluorescent. If I knew that, I would have ordered it. Yeah, I probably should have looked to see maybe. Well, doesn't really matter now if I plan on shutting down the website. But let's say a feature of the website, I could have seen if maybe like there's only like X amount left in stock. If it shows how many is left in stock, so that way like, oh, he's only got one of these left. Like I should probably order that. That's probably a good idea. I wonder if I. The reason I want to shut down the website is it's costing me. I think Shopify by itself is $30 a month. Just to have the Shopify account, and then plus all the credit card sales, and I'm just moving more inventory through eBay than I am through the website. So that's why I was like contemplating shutting down. I rather sell through the website. I enjoy all the website stuff like programming it and tinkering around. I really like Shopify. It's just it doesn't make sense to keep paying for it if I'm not making a ton of money through the website. But I definitely still want to do like the 614 stuff because I definitely enjoy it. I was going to see if there's anything that's really low that's in stock that somebody might be wanting. Because if it's a regular product item, I'm not going to be restocking like fish foods and stuff like that. Really, 2233 is here. Hello. So I know the root tabs have one left. Thrive All-in-One, which is Nilo Aquatics. There's one bottle of those left. And that's one of the fertilizers when I first started online sales. I carried their fertilizer. And then once I got my own fertilizer, I didn't buy any more of theirs. But there's one bottle of that left. Magfloat, the small version, there's one left of those. A lot of the fish foods, there's only one left. The algae wafers from Hikari, there's only one left. Eheim Everyday Fish Feeder, there's one left of those. Python 25-foot air hose, one left of those. And aquarium salt, the 1 pound bag, there's one left of those. But yeah, those are like the ones I think people would be interested in. Really says, hey guys, how are all of you, basically? Doing good, buddy. It's Friday. Would be super excited that it's Friday, but I got to work tomorrow. Oh, and that's what I was going to talk about work. So yesterday, there was I guess, accident at work, and didn't involve us. It was a contractor. So we're in our new shop. I mentioned, we've been there for over 3 months now, 3.5 months, and we have all new equipment. Everything's nice and new. I love it. It's night and day better. Like morale is so much higher. Like everything's just so much better in the new shop. Like it's amazing. Really appreciate the owners of our company putting the millions of dollars. There's a big construction project. They did a new shop for us. It's us and Volkswagen or one building. We have like a wall that kind of divides us, but it's like one building for us. And they're doing a new Porsche building, which is going to be sales and service in one building. And the two buildings plus our old shop, they tore half it down, and they're going to make it a parts warehouse for our wholesale. So there's like three projects at once. Our building's done, so there's still two projects going on, but the three projects, I heard it was like somewhere around like, I can't remember if they said $7 million or $9 million for everything. So it's super nice that they put the money back into the company like that. Um, but anyways, we got these new racks, and we've been having issues with the safety locks. So if you think of, I know you guys aren't all car people, but if you think of a car up in the air at a service garage, where there's a dealership, or independent, a quick lube, you know how you got the arms that go under the car and raise it up off the ground. Well, there's safety locks. It's these metal bars that drop into like little spots in the rack. So when the car goes up, these things catch, and like it makes a clunky noise, like clunk as it goes up, clunk clunk. Well, we've been having problems with them not releasing or turning off the safeties, because you got to turn off the safeties to lower the car. Well, for 3 months now, they keep coming back and having to adjust it. And the way it works is there's a lever we pull, and it releases the lock on this side, and then there's a cable that goes up and over to the other post, and it releases. And usually, what happens when you have new equipment, that cable kind of stretches a little bit as it breaks in, and they know that they would have to come back after a few weeks and adjust them. But after that, it's golden. Well, we keep having issues of the locks not releasing. It's only on the very top, as high as the car will go on that setting, it doesn't want to release. So they're thinking, the company, it's an independent contractor that does like racks. We just call them racks. They do rack installs. Well, anyways, they're thinking there might be a more behind the scenes issue than just the cable stretching, because they said that it's highly unlikely that they should have to come out more than once, maybe twice at all in like 5 years, have to adjust those cables. Like once they stretch and break in, they're good, and then you do your annual inspection to make sure like they're not worn out and stuff like that. But the fact that some of these racks have been adjusted like 5 times, and luckily it's not like the locks are working too good is what the issue is. So it's not like we don't have the safety locks, it's we just can't turn the safety locks off. So it's not like reverse. Well, anyways, long story short, there's two guys from this company working on a rack, and there was a miscommunication between the two guys somehow, and the guy had his finger, as he was pulling on the lock, had his finger behind the lock, and when the rack came down, it slams the lock shut. So think of this big metal block, and the force of thousands of pounds coming down came down on his finger. We thought he lost his finger. So I'm at my toolbox, and our foreman is talking to me because I was having issues with my scanner for the car, my laptop. I was having issues with my laptop, and we heard and it wasn't even a cuss word. It was just like, it wasn't a scream, but it was like, you know, like when you're shocked, like ah. We hear that and we turn around, because it wasn't like loud enough that we're like, you know, we were startled, like, oh my god, what just happened? It was like, what was that? And we turn and we see him, and he's holding his hand like this, and he comes walking to us, and the rack he was working on, we have an aisleway, and then there's a rack on each side. So he was across the aisle. So he's walking across the aisle towards me and the foreman. He's got his hand. He says, "Where's the first aid kit?" I'm like, "It's over there on that wall." And the foreman's like, "You okay?" He's like, "Nope, not okay." We both like looked at each other, me and the foreman, and we're like, we thought he like cut himself with like the cable, because like, if you guys know like steel braided cable, the ends, if they fray, like you can like give yourself splinters or cut yourself. So um, we thought he cut himself. And the guy that works next to me, after he realized there was some hubbub going on, He turns and looks, and he's like, I just saw something fall off the rack. And I didn't know what he meant. I heard him say that he saw something fall off. At this point, the guy is at the first aid kit. They're getting like a trauma kit out that is supposed to be like clot blood. It's a tourniquet, all this stuff. So I figured he had a bad laceration. One of the Volkswagen techs is walking by and goes, "There's a finger on the floor." And I'm like, he lost his finger, and that's what fell. That's what my neighbor tech saw fall to the floor was a finger. So neighbor tech calls for an ambulance. The guy that did it, he's holding his finger, doing pretty good, pretty calm about it. Like you can tell he's panicking a little bit, but if it were me, I would have done passed out. I would have been hit my head on the concrete floor, gone, passed out. And this guy is just like, but it was like a minute of them trying to figure out how to get like the tourniquet stuff out of the bag, and like it was like this powder that's supposed to clot. Like he's like, I just need to go to the hospital. And then like at that point he started, I think, panicking. So he had his coworker drive him to the hospital. So I ran out and told them to cancel like the ambulance. Hang on, Havana's barking at me. She probably wants something. So anyways, what the foreman goes over there to look to see like was that really his finger, and what it ended up being is it's called degloving. So the metal didn't chop his finger off. It pinched it and it frightened him. I'm sure it hurt, and he ripped his finger out. So it basically took everything off of his finger. It's called degloving, and that's what came off. It was stuck to the rack and then fell to the floor. So that was yesterday. So I don't need to get into details. It was a crazy morning, and that was first thing in the morning, like 8:10 in the morning happened. Um, and what's crazy, dude came in today, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing here? And his hand was wrapped up, and I think he had it in a sling maybe. And he was like, well, I had to come get my car, but he was not acting like he was in pain. I'm sure he's on pain meds or something, or I don't know. Hopefully he's not on pain meds and driving his car, but I think he was up there to get his car. Maybe he had somebody up there to get his car for him, like his girlfriend or something. But Mickey's here. Good to see you, Mickey. So yeah, it was crazy, but he was in really good spirits. He's like, yeah, it was my fault. He's like, I should have. He's like, I should have told him to raise the rack up versus yanking my hand out. I'm like, hey, your first instinct is if your hand gets pinched is to try to unpinch it by pulling. So, he said if they would just released it, he probably would have had a bad cut, but it wouldn't have been like that crazy. So yeah, yesterday was intense. Baron von Yinzer with the emoji of the yeah. That's the I guess most disturbing accident I've seen. Fishing Floral says enjoying that it's Friday. Going to go see Bon Jovi on Sunday. That's pretty sweet. Fishbrella Corporation, good to see you. Paul McCarthy, good to see you. Hey man, you need to go outside? Come here. She's just wanting attention. She does this like whine bark, which is usually when she wants to. They're both coming. Charlotte. I don't know if you see it. Oh, there's Savannah's nose. Needy girls. But yeah, let me see. Oh, Charlotte's in the microphone. Sorry if you're hearing crazy noises in the microphone. Savannah's in it now. Baron said order in for a couple autos and the 614 FERT. You put an order in or you want to put an order in? I don't know how many autos are left, if I'm being honest. Let me see what this says I have in stock. It says I have 2 left. I definitely know I have one in there because I saw him yesterday. I was like, oh, there's an auto right out in the front. Yes, sir, I put the order on. Oh, that's weird. I didn't get the notification. Let me hit refresh. It's weird. It's not showing an order. Maybe my computer's being super slow. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't say any orders. I'll have to give it a little while to refresh, but thank you. This is crazy. Yes, you don't call the ambulance since they'll charge you. Just crazy. Yeah, so I know from experience, just stepping foot in the ambulance is $500. So, I mean, with it happening at work, I mean, it would have been his work insurance or workers' comp, however that works. I've never had to claim it. Would have paid for all that since he got injured like on the job. But yeah, yeah. So I think it's time we go for a walk. So let me undo the microphone thingy-majigger and undo this. Tonight's beverage is coffee, decaf, because I got work tomorrow. Let me see if there's anything. Yeah, we're going to flip you around. The girls don't block me. There's a ton of algae, so you're not going to be able to see much. But I'm going to try to flip you around and show you the babies. Uh-oh. Why is it? Oh, my hand's black. I was like, why is it black? So I don't know why I set the phone up. I can't change it since I'm already live. But my phone is, so the camera's over here. Normally my camera's over here. So there's a baby. Oh crap, so there's one. Oh, I forgot. Now I gotta mess with the chat. I was trying to see where the bigger, so on Sunday I said there's some bigger babies. So that's like the smaller of them. They hang out like in this front one all the time, but I'm not sure where they're at right now. But there's definitely baby bristlenose, brilliant bristlenose in there. I just see the one right now. Sorry. I'm just trying to look around to see if I see the other ones. But as you can see, this Amazon sword is looking horrible with all the algae on it, but these babies are loving it. And that's why there's a baby super red. Baron, maybe I'll try to catch this guy out and send it to you. Maybe he's a male. I know Baron's been trying to get a male super red, and he's been getting all females. That one's still too little to know, but it seems like majority of them are all females. Anyways, let's go for a walk as I cover up the camera again. Havana, do you need to go outside? She hasn't been out yet. Flip you around. I showed you Jake. Maybe. Why is it not flipping? There's Jake. Who wants to be fed. Oh, and there goes an order through the store, so maybe it went through now. Yep. PayPal from Jason. Just Bonyunzer, if you guys didn't know. All right, so I'm going to flip you around. We're just going to do a tour of all the tanks real quick. So this is the Fluval tank. It just has rainbows. I showed this on Sunday. Got some ram's horns in there to help clean up the algae. The fry rack is in the process of being taken down. I've drained and removed the plants out of the lower tanks and just kind of working my way up to the top. We just got plants and snails in here. There's no fish in here anymore. They're all pulled out, but definitely got some ram's horns that we need to pull out. This is my favorite tank. I know I say the 55 in the studio is my favorite, but this is like my favorite one that's clean. I do no maintenance on this tank. I just let the plants go. I don't have to scrape algae. The snails keep up with it. It's a really low light. It's one Phoenix Stingray clip-on, which is not made for this. It's made for like little bowls or 5-gallon tanks, but it's on this 20 long. It's not very bright, so it kind of gives it a nice rivery kind of feel. But I really enjoy it. That's the Barbados tank. The CPD tank, I trimmed it not too long ago. It needs trimmed again. Oh, there's a water spot, but ignore the water drip line. But there's the CPD right there. There's only 2 in here now. There originally was 6. I took 3 to my aunts, which they had babies, so my aunt bred CPDs unknowingly. So I kept, where'd he go? I kept 3. There's 2 in here for sure. I think 1 died, but I only ever see 2 in here anymore. We'll go out to the fish room. The fish room is probably what's, I don't know if I say changed the most, but as I've been like selling out, gosh, dogs are pushing me over. It's gonna be a little bit noisier because of the air pumps in here running, the dehumidifiers running. The fish room is currently 72 degrees and 40% humidity. So let me flip you. So we'll go with the first tank. So this one's kind of dirty looking, I guess. I had rock wool planters. They got kind of pulled out, and now there's just rock wool chunks. But here's the orange laser cories. That's actually one of the babies. I said on Sunday I bred these guys not intentionally. So one of the adults, there's glare. Sorry guys, I know this is probably real shitty looking. That's a baby right here. This is so hard. So that's an adult and a baby. So in the back, big one's adult. Right in front, it's a baby. That's a baby right there. The front of the glass has algae because it's closest to the light. And I just put ram's horns in here so they haven't. There's a ram's horn. I feel like a brand new newbie trying to do this whole record thing. And I'm walking around the humidifier. Second tank is empty, so 20 long, nothing in it. This 20 long's got some guppies. This female is like 3 years old, and she's looking just super thin, but she's been like that for months. And they're on a auto feeder, but there's fry in here. Just some random guppies. Nothing. I don't think there's anything else in there. I think it's just the guppies. So this tank has concolor cories. They're always in the Christmas moss. Sometimes they come. Oh, there's one right here. Down there, a concolor cory and a super red pleco in there somewhere. Oh, he's under the sponge filter. I won't be able to focus on that. Okay, moving down. So this 29 over here was ram's horns. As you can see, it's maybe quarter full. And it's just got ram's horns in it. I'm not doing anything with it. There's a couple plants. I was going to drain this completely out, but then I was like, well, let me keep some water and keep the ram's horns. This had the Haka puffer in it. That's why there's some dead ram's horns shells. So this tank has 2 Odessa barbs, which I'm trying to look through a phone and through here, and it just doesn't work very well. There's 2 Odessa barbs in there somewhere. Where the heck are they? Huh. So there were 2 Odessa barbs in there. Oh, and so I thought there was only 1, but there's 3 salt and pepper cories in there. Oh, there's an Odessa barb right there. I don't know where they came from, but there's 2 Odessa. Oh, and they're fired up right now. Look how red they are. So if you guys want 2 Odessa barbs, I have 2 Odessa barbs left, and they are looking fire right now. Look at that red. And I'm telling you guys, it looks better in person. But I see 3. They're not. Why can't I think of them? Not pygmy cories. What's the other pygmy? There's pygmy pygmaeus, and then the. Oh my god. It's like the salt and pepper pygmy. There's three. I can see three of them right now. Pygmy habrosus. It just popped in my head. I don't. One, and then there's 2 and 3. I thought there was only one in there, but there's actually 3. So I need to go on the website and change that I have 3. The problem is somebody's going to order those 3, and I got to try to catch them in all of this. It's like impossible. But there's assassin snails in here. That's these guys, and that's why you see some dead ram's horns. There's a super red, and then there's some calico plecos in here as well somewhere. This tank is empty other than some plecos. It's super dark looking, and that's because of all of the duckweed on the top is blocking the light and it tints the water green. Where like this tank's so much brighter, well, it's got way more open surface. But yeah, look at them. Oh yeah, and there's like 2 or 3 zebra danios, just kind of left over. All right, so this one is the salt and pepper Corys, the actual salt and peppers. I don't know how many's in here because this is a 29, so it's like a 20 long, but extra tall. You can't see more than the first foot in here, or 10 inches. Like, it's super thick. You can actually see a couple of them swimming right there. There is a couple plecos in there. Usually the plecos are kind of like up here in the top. So moving on over here, there's a couple, handful, we'll say, of glow light tetras, and there's also a couple plecos in here, but also Christmas moss. You can't really see much. Down below, the lights off. That's a 55-gallon tank with convict cichlids from Ohio Fish Rescue. You can see them kind of swimming. It's just the light's not on. Moving over, still have this pond that was supposed to be for plants, and then ended up getting duckweed. So like when people order duckweed, this is where it comes from. I'm trying to pinch the air off because really, so all this now is shrimp. I'm trying to like pinch this off. There, you can see. Can you see the shrimp? Oh, the duckweeds. There's shrimp right there. I see 1, 2, 3. Duckweeds coming over. Yeah, there's a shrimp right there. So this thing is, I forget the dimensions. I think it's 30 inches. What would that be? 36 inches? I forget, guys. Wait, let me zoom out. Let me zoom out for you guys. 36 by 5 feet by 10 inches deep. It's it's plywood pond. There's a video on my channel of building this. Super cheap. Well, it was super cheap. It was before the pandemic, so the wood was stupid cheap. Down here is still 55. This is a Christmas moss tank, so if you order Christmas moss, this is the tank I mainly pull from, and this is Blue Dreams. Let me zoom in. I don't know if you guys can see them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. But just super thick. There, you can see them. You can see the blue shrimps. And it's on an auto feeder as well. Did it drop any? Oh, I just broke the nub off of it. I'll have to come back to that. Flipping around, so this system has been giving me fits. So we got all the guppies. These were the ones that were outside, then went into the garage. They're in here on an auto feeder. They're doing pretty good. I know, guys, I'm sorry about the glare. It's horrible. This tank has one black neon tetra. He was hiding. Somebody ordered the last of my black neon tetras, and this guy was hiding. So I have one black neon. Over here, got rainbows that have been growing out. More rainbows. Some snails. And then over here, is what's left of the autos. And I know I guess I should be looking. So there's an auto right there on the Moss. Yep, and there's one in the back. So I definitely have the two that Von Yunzer ordered. Von Yunzer, if you're still in here, if I have 3 or more, I'm going to send you whatever's left. I know there's 2 for sure, but whatever's left, I'm sending you. So this mill rack, this thing's doing pretty good. This has also rainbows in it. They're in the back. I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but they're chilling back there. And I'll get to the chat here in a second. So these other tanks are getting really bad algae. And, I leave the algae because everything thrives on everything. So this tank also has rainbows. They're also in the back. They like to be in the back. This tank has just a bunch of Christmas moss grown pretty flat. This light is a Fluval 3.0, so it's keeping the Christmas moss very compact compared like these tanks over here. That's super crazy. So this tank, the top of the surface is kind of biofilmy because it's not getting a super good. There's one Denison barb, torpedo barb. One guy, he gets this 20 long to himself, and then there's 1 or 2 plecos in there. This last tank has some pearlweed and Christmas moss in it. Bottom tanks, there's some plants, no fish down there. Moving over, this just has some shrimp. In this 10, this rack system needs to go. It's becoming a catch-all for all my fish equipment, so it needs to go. The shrimp that are in this tank are going to go into the plywood pond. I don't know if you guys can see the shrimps. There's a couple right there. Down here, also, it's got some blue-green algae, and it's overgrown. I need to break that down, move those fish or shrimp over. But yeah, that's the current fish room. I got water that's got some methylene blue in it because the Barbados scories are just non-stop breeding. Non-stop. My arm's getting tired holding you guys. Let me give the dogs their little treats for coming inside. I swear they only want to go outside so they come in and get treats, but I got smarter, so, sorry. Instead of buying them actual dog treats, I just give them their dog kibble and say it's a treat, and you go nuts for it. And it's just the regular dog food, so now I don't have to buy dog treats. You just think they're getting something special when it's just their dog food, but don't tell them. All right, I'm gonna put you guys back in the. I'm back. Hang on. Sorry. So what happened was I told you guys I have this phone is backwards compared to how it normally is. So I went to slide the phone in and hit the power button. So hopefully I got things back as it should be. Okay, I want to get back in the chat because when I'm showing you guys stuff, I'm not paying attention at all to the chat. All right. Hi, Havana. Havana's at my feet. Mickey says, Charlotte, my favorite dog. Yeah, she's usually pretty good. The problem with Charlotte, it's not a problem, but she gets up and down in the middle of the night a lot. And the thing is, she likes to sleep under the blanket, but she can't get under the blanket on her own. She hasn't figured that out. So what she does is she's on the bed, she paws me until I lift up the blanket and she crawls under, right? And then she lays there for an hour, whatever. She'll get down, go get water, a drink of water or something, and then either she gets back on the bed and paws me, or she's on the side of the bed, puts her head on the edge, and kind of whines, and then she'll bark. And I tell you what, at 3 o'clock in the morning, that dog's bark sucks. It's so high pitched. So then I'm lifting up the side of the bed's blankets, and then she'll hop up and under the covers. Some nights she makes it through all night, doesn't move, and some nights she's up every hour. It's horrible. She's barking now. I don't know if you can't hear her. She's in the window. She's becoming very She's becoming very opinionated of people outside the house now. It used to be before she stood in the window and was like, "Oh, there's people." Now she barks at everybody. She acts all big and tough. But when somebody comes to the house, she lets Havana take care of it. Raheem, good to see you. I'm doing pretty good. Hope you're doing well. It was a long time since I saw your tinks. Yeah, it's been a long time, Mickey, since I've gone live from the cell phone, so I could do that. Mickey said we pay for health services via regular tax, though smaller cost per person. You never know when you'll need the help, but it's everybody's time someday. If not, you're happy to help others in that situation. Yeah, I mean, health insurance here is expensive as shit. I'll just be honest. It's not cheap. I know, like, and it's going to be dependent on your company, how much your company puts in. But it's crazy. Will assassin snails kill zebra neorites? Um, I don't know. I've never kept assassins with zebras. So I'm not sure. Um, they will kill ram's horns for sure. Um, I'm curious how that actually works. Like, how do they off the other snails? Like, they have a little boxing match. I'd be curious to get like a really good like telephoto micro or macro zoom lens and watch, like, or do they like inject them with like a poison or toxin? Like, how does that work? Because they can take down like a ram's horn that's like 4 times their size, and I don't know how they do it. They do it. So I'd be curious. I'm sure somebody knows how it works, but I feel bad for that lonely black neon. If you want that black neon, Von Yunzer, I'll send them to you. Oh, I just saw your next message. I bet that black neon would love to live my 125 with the school that I have in there. I'll send them to you, buddy. Yeah, I don't plan on getting black neons. I thought was going to be a good seller because I'm like, man, they're so underrated, and then nobody bought them. I sat on them for like a year before I sold a single one. And I was like, oh. And then the orange lasers, I sold 9 of them to a local guy, and he's like, "Dude, your prices are amazing on these." He's like, "I can't believe you," because he asked how long I have them. He's like, "Do I need how long do I?" He was trying to figure out how long to quarantine them. I was like, "I don't know. I've had them at least 9 months, maybe a year." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "I figured you just got them or something." I was like, "No, I've had them forever." He's like, "Your prices are extremely cheap," and I was like, "Nobody's bought them." So he bought 9 of them. I have like 2 left. I need to message him saying that I found babies so that all of his orange lasers he bought are breeding size because they don't. They're small. Those orange lasers are small Corey for being breeding size at that small. Like, that's a good Corey to have in like a smaller tank. And they look awesome. Raheem says, Steven, you have a good plants collection. Well, thank you. It's just hodgepodge, I guess. His status and probably several other of the small Corys live and swims with tetras looking like themselves, helps both species to survive in nature. His status, habrosis. Yeah, it's habrosis. Matt's here. Good to see you. My Stewie's barking at your dog barking. That's funny how that works with dogs. I used to, uh, on my old stereo receiver before it took a crap, I would Bluetooth my phone to it when I'd get home from work, and I'd walk into the garage, and I would play a YouTube video of dogs barking. I could hear Havana just going nuts inside, trying to figure out what was going on with these dogs barking. Um, but yeah. But Matt, good to see you. IHSP, good to see you. Hope everybody's doing well. Today, IHSP is tired AF. I feel ya. It was like I hit a wall at 4 o'clock. I'm like, it's 4 o'clock. Like, normally in the afternoons, like, I'm busy. I'm like, oh man, it's 5 o'clock. It's time to go home. 4 o'clock, and I was like, oh, I'm so ready to go. And I got a big job I'm working on. So I stuck it out until about 4:50, and at 4:50, I'm like, all right, I'm going home. But I just wanted some coffee tonight, so I got the decaf. I'm feeling tired right now, but I got work tomorrow, so I've been doing pretty good about going to bed early. So I know last year I would be up till midnight, 1 o'clock. I try to be, excuse me, I try to be in bed, in bed by 9. I'm feeling old, guys. So it doesn't mean I'm asleep at 9. So I get in bed at 9, I turn on the TV, and that's usually when I read my emails. I'll get on social media, check out messages and whatnot. But I'm usually asleep within like 20 minutes. There's been a couple nights where I've been asleep at like 8 o'clock. I get home from work, eat dinner, feed the dogs, do whatever I need to do around the house, whether it's feed fish, pack orders, um, stuff like that. Or I've been ordering a lot of car parts for the second channel, so doing stuff with that, and then I'm usually out, just straight asleep. I'm yawning now. I'm talking about it. IHSP says I hit my wall at about 1 o'clock today. Yeah. I was doing pretty good up until about 4, and then I hit it. Mickey says, I know people do videos on YouTube about hospital costs of yours. So sad everyone needs, sooner or later, someone you know needs that help. If you're talking about here, yeah, hospital costs are insane. If you want to be rich, get involved in something medical here because it's a freaking ripoff. So I know, like 4 years ago when I was in the hospital, the saline bag, which let me. So I'm factual. I thought it was just salt water. Saline IV fluids combine sodium chloride and sterile water. Saline solution uses 0.9 sodium chloride. The water in IV fluids rehydrate the body, which is about 60% water. So a bag of water with some sodium was, I think, $90, if I remember the bill. The bill was like, I mean, it was thousands and thousands of dollars. My insurance paid most of it. I think I had to pay for the ambulance ride. Like, insurance didn't pay for the ambulance ride. That was $500. And then it's $500 for the ambulance, and then all the stuff they use adds up. They charge you for like sheets in the ambulance, whatever drugs they administered, all that stuff. And then in the hospital, you get charged for all that. And I think I had like two bags of saline. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. I think it was 2. Maybe it was 3. But I remember it actually lowered my body temperature, and I started shivering so bad I thought I was like dying. I was like, my body was uncontrollably shivering, and I was like, this isn't normal. Like, why am I shivering so bad? And like the nurse came in, and he said that, well, it's because the IV, the bag of water is room temp. So if it was like 68 degrees or whatever in there, he's like, we're putting 68-degree fluids into you, so it's lowering your temp. That's why you're so cold. So they had these heated, like, these not heated blankets, but it was blankets that were warmed. Like, they were like in a heater, so like it was warm blankets, and they put like 4 of them on me. It felt great, but yeah. Tylenol can be $50. That's insane. It's just such a freaking racket. It really is. Everything costs so much. Like, the I don't even want to get started because it's like, it just makes me mad. Like, between like hospital costs and taxes, it's like sickening. So sickening. Oh, yeah. Bon, I keep saying Bon. Baron von Yinzer. I love the Paleatus Corys I got from at Essia Quacks. I have some more. Do you have rice fish? And do you use CO2 for planting? I do not use any CO2. I've used CO2 in the past, and it was homemade CO2, which was like citric something. I was going to say citric acid. I don't remember. It's been a few years. I still have it out in the kitchen. It's where you take the 2 liter pop bottle and you put the citric. I think it's citric acid. I think it's like, I don't know what it's used for. Cooking maybe, I don't know. And then you add, was it baking soda maybe? I forget. You have to look it up. I made homemade CO2, and I tested it for a couple weeks. It raised the CO2 level in the tank because I got a Fluval, the very generic CO2 checker, which I'm pretty sure that just is pH fluid, if I had to guess, but it did raise. I didn't see a difference in plants, but that was like my beginning into plants. So I was like just starting with plants, and I'm sure this happens to a lot of people. Like, oh, I want a plant tank, so let me get everything I need and supercharge it by putting CO2 in it. Well, I didn't want to buy a CO2 tank and the expensive regulator and all that, so I just made the homemade version. I think I bought like all the pieces. There was a kit on eBay for like $10. I gave you the 2 liter adapter. I think it has like a pressure gauge and like the line and then a little diffuser. And I mean, as far as CO2, it worked. I watched the CO2 levels go up in the tank, but I didn't notice difference because I was too new, I guess is the word, too new into plants to know what to look for, and that just because I was giving them CO2, I didn't give them the other nutrients they needed. You know, if I was giving them fertilizer on top of the CO2, they probably would have done really well. But it was that, it's that Fluval tank that the rainbows are in, and the light on that isn't the best. I don't think it's the correct spectrum for plants. Like, it'll grow algae, so it should. If it grows algae, it should grow plants. But I just haven't had good luck with plants in that tank. So I'm not sure. But my best tanks for plants are definitely 20 longs. It's like just the perfect depth for lighting. You don't need crazy lighting. Now, really crazy lighting, you can grow some crazy plants, but the Barbados tank, the 20 long with the Stingray clip-on, which is the cheapest Stingray you can buy, and it's made for like a 5-gallon tank or a bowl. That tank has Crypt Wendetti Red and Anubias growing in it, and also a Dwarf Sagittaria. The Sagittaria definitely would prefer higher light, but they're growing in that tank. And the Sagittaria is carpeting. It's not I wouldn't call it carpet, but it is sending out runners. And that tank, all I do is water top offs, and I add fertilizer, and I use the 614 Fert. Here in Sweden, we pay approximately $20 per visit to the doctor, and taxes cover rest. If you reach costs over $110 a year, well, you know what, Mickey, you guys suck. Actually, that's really awesome. So my copay, so every time I go to the doctor, the copay, which with my insurance, it's I think $15 or $20. It used to be $15. I think it might be $20 now. And then insurance covers the rest on that. But that's because my doctor's in the network. If I'm out of the network, then they only pay like half. So God forbid if you're like on vacation somewhere and you get injured and you have to go to the hospital, then you're on the hook for half of it because it's not a preferred network. It's crazy. So speaking of that, I don't want to be off topic here, but I like talking about what is in my daily life. So the guy that got injured, right, with the finger. So Mickey, I don't know if you were here, but a contractor at my work got his finger degloved. So basically, all the flesh got ripped off of his finger. You're left with a bone. That happened to him yesterday. He came back in today. He's not our employee. He's a contractor. He came in and he seemed fine. I mean, his hand was wrapped. He seemed like in good spirits, even though that was traumatizing to me yesterday. He seemed to be in good spirits today. He was in there picking up his car. Anyways, he was saying they got to the hospital and there was a metal detector and they had to wait in line. And he went to the emergency room at the hospital, not like an urgent care or doctor. He went to the hospital, went to the emergency room. There's a metal detector getting in, and there was a family. I think he said it was a woman and like one, maybe two kids in front of him. are at the metal detector, and she's like emptying out her purse because they got to empty out the purse to get into the ER. And he's sitting there with his finger wrapped in a shop towel, bleeding. And he's like, I need to go to like the doctor station, whatever it's called. And the security guard's like, you gotta go through the metal detector. And I forget what he said after that. It ended up being that the guy used like the security wand on him, and Havana's right in front of the microphone, so hopefully you guys are hearing me okay, and you're not getting like pit bull noises. But the guy's like, "Do you have any metal on you?" And the contractor's like, "Yes, I have my keys, I have my phone. I can't. I'm holding the blood in my hand right now. Like I can't take that stuff out." I guess the security guard was like, "Well, do you have any guns or knives?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "All right, go ahead." I was like, and what he was complaining about was he's like, I'm sitting here bleeding, like leaving a trail of blood, and I'm in line to go through a metal detector. Like, I need help. And I was like, yeah. And I remember we're going back 20, no, longer than, oh my God, longer than 20 years ago. I feel old. 25 years ago, I was a kid, and I was carving a pumpkin, and I cut my finger open. You won't be able to see, but like, I don't know if you can see there's a line, like, through my finger. So I had to go to urgent care to get stitches. And I remember this dude, he looked like a construction worker, and his hand was bleeding. Like, I think he took a circular saw to his hand, and he had to sit there and wait in the weight room for them. I'm like, why are they not? And I was young. I mean, I had to be 10 years old or ish. All right, Havana's hitting the microphone. Sorry, guys. Um, I'd be 10 thinking, like, why are they not helping them? IHSP says my copay is $60. That's insane. That's so much money. What's insane is, and like I said earlier, it depends on your company, like how much money they paid towards like your premiums. I forget what my premiums are. $400 a month for health insurance, I think. Um, Somewhere around there. I don't know. It's deducted like over two payments or my two paychecks a month. So I think we'll just say it's around 400. The reason I don't know specifically is because every year we do biometrics where they take like your blood pressure and they do a blood sample to see how your cholesterol and all those thingies are. I'm not a medical person. I don't know the names. I should, but anyways, and then like depending on how healthy you are, is how much you pay. So like if you're like overweight, if you have high blood pressure, if you have high cholesterol, you pay the most out of everybody. And if you're in good health, you pay less. There's tiers. Um, and I'm usually pretty good on the tiers. I am overweight, but the other stuff, I usually always have good cholesterol and good blood pressure. So that usually makes up every. I guess last year the whole company had bad blood pressure because they were doing like a clinic to like help with blood pressure or something. We have a nurse. Our company has a nurse that we have like medical questions. We can talk to a nurse, and there was an email about um, like doing things to help your blood pressure because the company had high blood pressure. I'm like, that's crazy because I always have really good blood pressure. Like if it's supposed to be like 120 over 80, I'm usually like I monitor my blood pressure here. I'm usually like 122 over 80 or like 118 over 80. I'm usually pretty close to like the normal. Um, yeah. So, but I know insurance for family. So I'm a single insurance. Let's say it's 400 a month. It's single person. If you have a spouse or if you have a family, which is a spouse and a kid, it costs more. So if you're thinking like, all right, I'm 400 a month. How much is it to add a spouse? How much is it to add a kid? It's like between $1,200 and $1,400 a month for health insurance if you have a family. $1,400. I was like, how do people at the like I call it the low tier jobs at our work. So I'm a technician, so we're paid really well, and technicians we're not salary, so we're paid on like how hard we work. The more hours we turn, the more we make. So we can make really good money. and $1,400 is a lot of money. So I'm like, what about the people that work in the car wash? I don't know how much they make, but let's say they make $10 an hour. Maybe they make less, maybe they make more. I don't know. I can't imagine they make much. They wash cars, right? They make $10 a month, but they gotta spend $10 a month, $10 an hour. But if they have a family, their insurance is $1,400. Like, holy cow! So I'm doing. I'm gonna do the math here. So $1,400 at $10 an hour is 140 hours. You couldn't have health insurance. So at 140 hours on a 40-hour work week, that's 3.5 weeks that you would have to work straight to pay that. But that's before taxes. That's net income. That's not even gross, or is that gross, not net? So literally, if you made $10 an hour, you cannot afford health insurance. You just couldn't. Your whole job would just be paying your health insurance. You wouldn't be able to pay for literally anything else. It's crazy. Raheem says medical insurance is too expensive in USA and even in India. Yeah, insurance is insane, guys. Insane. It's such a racket. And the thing is like, if you look at I don't know about your guy. I don't want to speak for anywhere else in the country, but here in Columbus, Ohio, which is like the biggest city in Ohio, it's the capital. It's a booming town. It's booming industry, booming headquarters, which is great. It caused the housing market to go insanely expensive. My house is like dang near doubled in value in the last 3 years, 4 years. It's been crazy. I could sell them, make a ton of money. I won't be able to buy anything around here. It's great, but you look at the hospitals. It's insane. These hospitals, how big they are. I'm like, all right, so you have a huge city, you need a big hospital for all the rooms, but it's not like it's just a big building. It's like you can look. They're expensive buildings. Like they're very they're very expensive looking. Like I don't know how to describe them, but like they put so much money into these hospitals, and it's like it's insane. Because I know I went to get COVID tested. When was that? A few months ago. A bunch of people were sick at work, and I got so sick. I was the sickest I have ever been, minus like barfing, but like body aches, headaches, sinuses were messed up. Just all my whole body was just devastated. I was like, I have to have COVID, and um, so I went to go get tested. So that way, if I wasn't positive, I could keep working. I came back negative, but just going to the urgent care was $100, and I should have looked to see how much the COVID test was. Um, but yeah, I mean, just like setting foot inside of, it's not even urgent care. It was a little clinic. It's just like a little nurse practitioner office. It was $100 just setting foot in it, which, I mean, I get it. Like, stuff's expensive, but like, it's crazy. Hospitals are a racket. Von User said medical insurance is such a GD racket. It really is. And I'm not even like affected by it yet. I mean, I'm getting older and my health isn't getting any better, but it's not like I'm going to a hospital once a month for testing or anything like that to where I could really like feel the pain of it. But it's just like, oh, did he show him his finger? So no, he didn't take the wrap off, which is probably good because I think if he would took the wrap off and he would have saw what was there, it would have been bad. The story actually is a little bit worse. So I told you guys how that came off and fell to the floor, right? They went to the hospital and forgot it. It was still on the floor. So the foreman went and got a Ziploc bag and put his finger pieces in the bag and put it in the fridge. Oh my gosh. We're like, what are you doing there? He's like, well, I'm going to put it in the fridge because I don't know what else to do with it. He's like, I think they need this. So I guess he called the guy that was driving him and was like, hey, like, the finger's here. He's like, "Do you guys need this?" And the guy's like, "Nah, we don't need that." And I guess like a little bit later, he called back. He's like, "I'm coming back to get that. They want it." So they end up putting it back on. So I'm guessing they like a glove, slid his finger back on and sewed it on. And a guy at work was like, "It'll probably die, but that's going to help keep infection out because that's the biggest thing. You know, your fingers open, like the infection risk is got to be so high." But God help you if you get really sick in the USA. Good way to lose everything. Yeah, I know. Um, a good friend of mine, his wife ended up getting a brain tumor, and I don't know. She was it was a little while ago. Let's say late 20s, early 30s. She luckily worked at a hospital, and how she had like super amazing health insurance through her hospital. She had this surgery that ended up being like, oh, I'm trying to remember what it was, like $380,000 was the final bill for brain surgery, basically. Which, okay, I'm not going to argue because this sounds crazy. Her insurance, like, said and done, I think she spent like $1,000. I was like, well, when you told me it's going to be 380K and you only spent 1,000, that sounds amazing. My insurance would be like, yeah, you're paying like 90% of that. I'm like, oh, yeah, insurance is crazy. In Finland, they have a funny speeding ticket system. Maybe something similar at hospitals. The more you earn, the more you pay when speeding. A CEO a CEO at Nokia paid 1.5 million for speeding. That's well. See, the thing is that I can see why they do that. So I've had I've had two tickets in my life, and they both were speeding. And the one was I was like 18, and one was like 19. I was late to work. So like at least over 15 years ago, because it wasn't even when I was working on cars. It was I was working at an auto glass company, so at least 15 years ago was the last time I ever got a ticket. But I can see why they do that because the ticket was, I think, like $100. I was on my motorcycle. Um, if you're a millionaire or billionaire, what's $100? Yeah, here's $100. Give me the ticket. Go on. But if you start charging them $1.5 million, that's going to hurt more. So you're like, oh, maybe I should stop speeding. Because the thing is, like, if you got what people are calling FU money, um, what's $100? That's nothing if you got millions of dollars. You can get 50 of those tickets a day, and it's nothing. Shelly Fish is here. Good to see you. Most hospitals in the U.S. are nonprofit and pay zero property taxes, yet own huge tracts of land and huge buildings. UPMC is a prime example. Yeah, that's crazy because if I remember right, and before I even mention this, I'm gonna Google it. Okay, so up until 2015, the NFL was a nonprofit, 501c6. I don't know what the C6 means, but an unincorporated nonprofit 501c6 association up until 2015. The company makes like billions of dollars a year between like its merchandise and brand deals and like how is that a nonprofit? Like that's crazy. Nonprofit NFL. Well, it says up until 2015, but that's a racket. And what's crazy is like, so my last company, BMW, was a family owned one dealership. The owner's father that set everything up was like a huge tycoon in the dealership industry, like back in the 70s, maybe 60s. He basically owned the rights to Volkswagen. Like, I don't know if it was in the Midwest or if it was just like Ohio. I think it was like Midwest. But he had like some huge thing with Volkswagen when Volkswagen got popular in the United States, and that's like kind of think what launched him. But he owned like all these dealers. It was basically like a monopoly. He had all these dealers, and he started selling them, and he kept BMW. It was his only dealer he kept, and that's what he gave to his son, who was my boss. I mean, his son is probably like in his 50s now. Um, and so, I just knew business from that. Working at this dealer, there's like 14 brands, and that's not all they own. So they got 14 different brands. So, Audi, Porsche, Subaru, Volvo, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, Jeep, Chevy, uh, Toyota, all these brands, right? Well, they also own, I'm sure it's all over the country, but these portable storage units, some of them are called like pods. Um, some are called bins, which I think stands for like bring in storage. Um, this one here is called Go Minis, but it's these like portable sheds basically. These think of like a steel shipping container, but like fiberglass, and you can rent them. And they come, they drop them off at your house. And you can load them. They can like either sit there for however long you rent them, or sorry, my security system is saying there's somebody at my front door. Um, or they can take them and they put them in like a climate controlled warehouse. Well, our company owns that company here. So they have these dealers and they have that. They also own like a fence company. So anytime they do like construction at um, like one of the dealers, they hire their fence company to put up the fences. They own like a real estate company. So I think our dealership pays the the lease company for our building, but it's like still owned by. It's just like money, the way money transfers on these big corporations. Like they're smart, they know how to do their taxes because they're like, hey, if we do this, it's a tax write off. They also own like all the Hertz. Like, if you heard of Hertz car rentals, they own like all the ones in Central Ohio. Which I don't know why we don't use them more because we only have so many loaner cars. Like they should just put a Hertz rental location at our dealership, and like if a customer needs a car, like hey, there's Hertz right there. Like we own that. Like that's business. Like put a Hertz rental at all your dealers. Like why would you not do that? Stop having Audi rental cars and just give them Hertz. But yeah, I mean the businesses when they're smart, they just money rolls through like crazy. Raheem said, I got myself COVID tested 3 times, all negative. Um, I've only had to get tested twice, and both were negative. Or no, one was positive. It was 2 years ago. I forgot. My first time I tested positive because I had a headache for like 3 days in a row, and that's not normal for me. And a guy at work got tested, and this was like when COVID just started happening, and the government was paying people to stay home for 2 weeks. We were slow as crap, and the government was paying us to stay home for 2 weeks. I was like, please let me be positive. So I went and got tested, and it was like, you're positive. I was like, yes, I feel fine, but let's go. Like 2 weeks off, paid vacation. So I stayed home for 2 weeks and watched movies for 2 weeks. I didn't leave the house, which that kind of sucked because you had a quarantine. But I literally had a headache for 3 days and I fatigue. Um, Other than that, I didn't have like body aches or anything. It was headache for 3 days, and that's when I noticed like, all right, this isn't right. I need to go get tested. So the headaches were pretty much done at that point, but I was like super fatigued for like a good week. But it was like 2 weeks being paid to stay home. That was cool. And then the last time I was actually sick, and I was like, I'll be honest with you guys, we kind of the mechanic world in general, we work on some nasty cars. And if you guys really think about your car, you're driving, you sneeze on your steering wheel. Maybe you might cover people sneeze, they're talking, they're spitting on steering wheels. You rub your face, you might cover your mouth if you sneeze or cough. You're touching the shifter on your car. your handle when you get in and out of your car. Your car is a germ magnet. Let's be honest. You're in your own car, it's no big deal. I get in your car, I'm sitting in your germs. That's just a way of life. Luckily, Audis and luxury brands in general are clean looking. You're not seeing like fast food wrappers on the floor. I've seen some pictures from like I'm just going to throw Dodge dealer out there. Cars are cheaper to buy. Like people are buying these cars for $1,000, like used, and they're just crappy, trash infested cars. You're like, oh my gosh, how do people drive in that? Luckily, when people drive $80,000 cars, they keep them fairly clean looking. Um, but mechanics, we kind of had this whole mentality of I don't know if it's like herd immunity, but we're so far in all of everybody's germs. Like our immune systems have to be really good. And in general, we don't get sick like some people. Like usually, like when like an office gets sick, like something goes around, everybody gets it. Usually, the techs do pretty good um, about fighting off sickness. There were the couple cases though, like 2 years ago, and then once um, a few months ago, where like everybody was getting sick. We're like, oh, like COVID's coming back to bite us, and everybody was testing negative. It was a flu that went around. It hit everybody. It was a 24-hour thing. I felt like death for a day. It was like a Friday. I went and got tested Saturday, and when I went to get tested, I was already feeling much better. The nurse was like, "How you feeling today?" I'm like, "Well, yesterday I had a fever. I had the chills. Uh, I was super just sick feeling, like everything." And I'm like, "Today I feel pretty good." Like after being so low, the next day, even if I was only 20% better, it was so much better. I was like, "Yeah, let's go." And tested negative, and then Sunday I felt 100% fine. It was just like a 24-hour bug. Um, but these cars, with the whole mask mandate, like in my opinion, it was. I don't think it was going to do much to slow anything down. It wasn't going to stop it. I don't even know if it was going to slow it, but you know, just me being in your car, like people don't wear masks in their car. I don't wear a mask in my car. That seems weird, but like if you had COVID, it's in your car, and then I get in your car, I'm getting it no matter what I do. Like I'm getting it, then yeah. But pretty much, I haven't heard a word about the pandemic in the last like 3 months or 2 months. It's been like 2 months since I heard anything um, like substantial. I saw one thing on social media about there was a new outbreak in China, maybe, and it was like the Delta Omicron Megatron Captain America Slayer version. I don't know what it was. It was some crazy name. Um, but yeah, Chevy Fish said cell phones and door handles are germ factories. Yeah, and I think that's a lot of stuff like people don't think about, like when they're bringing their cars in. It's like I'm touching your germs. And it was funny because like when the pandemic first happened, they started putting the plastic steering wheel wraps to protect us. So we wouldn't like directly contact your steering wheel. But I'm like, what about the gear shifter? Like nobody, like you guys didn't think about that? Like, hello, like cool, I'm not touching your steering wheel, but you still touch the gear shifter in your car every single day. Like that's the one, like that and the door handles, the things you have to use. You might not touch like a radio button, or you might not touch your AC button every day, but a gear shifter and the door handle you touch every day. I'm like, you're not plastic wrapping those, so what's the point of plastic wrapping the steering wheel? And I think it was just like for customers, they're like, oh, like they're protecting my car. No, if I had the pandemic, if I had the Rona, your steering wheel's not, that plastic wrap around the steering wheel is not doing anything. It's not. But they stopped that. I mean, it's like 100% back to normal around here at least. Like going to stores, no one. I mean, I still see some people wearing masks, but majority aren't. There's no mandates for it anymore. Like it's just nice seeing people's face, to be honest. And what's crazy, I'm not ashamed to say this. Maybe a little bit. So we had this female coworker at work that had a mask on, always wore a mask. She was a lot attendant. I don't know her name. I don't know. Always had a mask on, but she looked super pretty. She had super pretty eyes. I'm like, man, she looks super pretty. And then like the mask finally came off. I'm like, I might be shallow, but I'm like, oh, she's not as pretty as I thought she was. Sorry, I don't mean to offend you guys, but That's the truth. I was like, she's not as pretty as I thought she was with the mask. But for the majority of people, it's like, man, it's nice seeing people's faces because you can see like really if somebody's smiling. Because like before, you're kind of like trying to judge their eyes. Like, are they smiling right now? Or are they super angry? So it's nice to be able to read expressions. But I still wear my ski mask all the time. People always think I'm going to rob them. Um, there was a sign somewhere. It said if you wear, I think it was a gun store, and I saw it online. It said if you wear a ski mask in here, be prepared to, I think like be shot or something like that. You know, it was probably some uh, southern, very pro gun store somewhere. But I was like, yeah, like who? It's not like who would wear a ski mask into a bank? Like, oh, I'm COVID. No, that's just a bad idea. But Matt, you should try it. You should try wearing a ski mask into the bank tomorrow. Let me know how it goes. See if they are okay with it. Actually, record it. It might be a good start to a YouTube channel. My buddy owns a shop and has a contract with a local ambulance company. He's had a rough 2.5 years with everything that he has dealt with. The car industry, like, so I feel like I've mentioned this on Sunday stream. Somehow our business went up like 60%. Like I think it was last year, my paycheck was down like last year. Well, 2020 was the worst paycheck I've ever had. It was down like at least 30%. Last year was still down like 31% or something. It was down a little bit more. This year's off to a good start though. But like, they always talk about like these record months we have. We're like, how are we having record months? Because like all the technicians we all talk to each other like, hey, like how are your hours doing? And everybody's like, not that good. So we're like, we don't know how we're doing records when everybody back here is struggling. But this year's been with the new shop. I think that's helping morale. Like my hours have been doing really good. Like, um, if the rest of the year kept up like this first quarter, it'd be a record year for me, like lifetime record for sure. If I can do that for another 9 months of keeping this like quick pace, just hauling butt, like knocking these cars out, I doubt because there's always going to be a slow period. Usually in fall, like people start getting close to Christmas, they start holding back on fixing their cars, um, which I get. They're more not interested, but more their priorities are getting toys for their kids or family members, like gifts and stuff like that, versus getting the new set of tires they need. But there's priorities. So fall's usually that time, and usually goes from like fall until like this time is like usually slower, not like dead, but slower. And then usually tax return is where you see the people come out of the woodwork like, hey, I want new tires, I want this fixed, which makes sense because they just got that tax money. Luckily, with luxury brands, those people aren't. Majority of them aren't. They don't. I don't want to say they don't struggle with money. They don't like live paycheck to paycheck. So like let's say like me, I might wait till tax return before I do a big purchase. This wireless microphone set, I use money from my tax return to buy this set. Um, Same thing with this computer last year. This was a year ago thing. Tax return last year, I bought. Well, I didn't even buy all this. It was like a 4 month saving money to buy some parts, some parts. So, I use the tax returns as the gifts to myself. Tax return is Christmas for myself. Is what I use that for. But there's all those ups and downs. But I guess if it stays up, this will be a sweet year. But you know, I don't change my lifestyle if I'm having good months. Um, I'm still trying to save and pay off debts and stuff like that. Let me see. A friend of mine lost a finger during mandatory military service. He was an awesome hockey player, national team almost. So, there went his dreams of the NHL. That sucks. Um, you're in Sweden, right? So, like, you guys do, like, when you turn, like, 18, you gotta do a mandatory 1 year in the military there? Because when you say mandatory military service, is that what that means? I'm just curious. My hospital's a nonprofit, but has been a nonprofit since its inception 150 years ago. I don't. So I guess I need to look into nonprofits. So if you're not for profit, like how do you pay all your employees? How do you pay for bigger buildings? Like I feel like you like I guess what's the definition of a nonprofit? Because like I feel like you use the profits to improve everything. Like that's isn't that what a normal business does? Like I know like if I take the profits from selling fish, I either pay myself, I'm an employee, or I put it back into the business, right? So what's the difference between me doing this now and me saying I'm a nonprofit? Because I mean, I get if I'm a nonprofit, then there's all the tax benefits, right? So, Vanya says we don't keep our clean cars a whistle, but when we send them into a shop, we wipe everything down, make sure the surfaces are clean. He or his techs need to touch or clean. Yeah, I mean, people don't like at least that I know. I mean, there's some cars that come in there just clean. Um, when I say like if I were like PSA to everybody watching, if you take your car into a dealership or to any service, when I say clean, you don't need to sit there and like Windex all your windows and all of the surfaces. Just get the trash up. Like if you'd be surprised at like somebody that eats. Let's just say this is like I don't know. This is even better. Let's say I go and get my Starbucks coffee cup. Like you don't need to leave this on the floor in your car or in the cup holder empty. Like just throw that away before you bring your car in. Because like not having like even though this is just like one cup in your cup holder, it's not a big deal. But it just looks it makes you look more clean when there's not just like empty stuff sitting everywhere. The worst I don't want to say it was worse, but the one that's like kind of cringe is like when someone's eating out of Tupperware, like a Glad container or Rubbermaid, and then like that container dirty is sitting on the seat or on the floor with like the dirty spoon. It had yogurt in it or whatever. Like dishes. There's dishes in your car. I get it. You probably ate that on your way to the dealership, but like, and that's your normal thing. I get it, but it just to me it's like, oh, like dirty person. Tissue. Oh, masks. Whether you're pro mask, against mask, whatever. If you got a mask, stop uh, stop hanging them from the mirrors. I'm just gonna say it. You got your rear view mirror. Quit hanging your mask from the mirror. You're not supposed to have stuff hanging from your mirror anyways. Depending on your state, it's usually a state law. It's a distraction. Um, like people would buy like it's not like an enforced thing. It's like they're not gonna pull you over. People buy like the fuzzy dice or the worst one. I think personally, like I don't even mind. I don't like stuff hanging from the mirror because I'm not tall. I'm short, so I don't have like the best field of view usually in some cars. So I don't like stuff blocking part of my view. You know, like if this is hanging on the mirror, like look at how much of the fish tank behind me is blocked, right? You know, um, it's not even like fuzzy dice or stuff like that. It's the little gems that these girls, these college girls, or whoever. I guess I shouldn't discriminate. Girls, maybe guys. There's these little like diamond crystal looking gems that hang from like a fish line, so you don't see the line. It's just a little gem. It looks like a diamond, and that thing catches the sun and it sparkles like crazy. Like driving like randomly will shoot sunlight into your eye, but also like I could see other cars on the road with that because you can see the little thing bouncing sunlight everywhere. Like it's like a little disco ball. Like those annoy me. Um, but no, so hanging the mask like when I get into a car, and it's not just me. Like I don't want to sound like I'm being overly picky here, but other techs literally have heard them and dealt with them sending pictures of these cars interiors to our. We have a group chat with our boss because they're in a different building. They either hang them from the rearview mirror, so it's like oh like their COVID mask is sitting in my face like ugh like it's full of germs, right? And it's just like a mental thing. The other one is they hang them off their turn signal stock. So you open the door, and it's usually not one. Like I don't know what people are hoarding these masks. You open the door, and there'll be like 10 masks hanging from their turn signal. Like right where I have to put my hand is all these masks, and like I'm not touching the mask where like your mouth is, but it's still just that cringe. Like So all I'm saying is, if you take your car in somewhere, take those masks out, put them in the glove box or something. Don't let them hang out because it makes it seem dirty. Like, I get it's just your mask, but it's just, ugh, feels grody. And you'd be surprised at how many masks are just flung throughout the cars, on the seats, on the floor. It's always those paper ones. There's some people that they'll have like 3 or 4 cloth ones, but it's those paper ones that they hang. It's like they like take a new one out, they go in the store and then hang it on their turn signal. It's like a little trophy. Like, yes, I went to 7 stores today. There's 7 masks, but they leave them there and they build up. It's grody. Cars are no fun if not keeping them clean inside. I understand anyone paying for cleaning if having the possibility to do so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. My truck's not clean. It's got the back seat is full of dog prints. It's leather, which I don't mind because with dog prints you can just wipe it down. But I would say my truck interior is dirty. But the one thing that's not my truck is trash. It's dirty because it's got like dust on the dash, and there's dog prints on the seats. That's dirty, and the floor mats have some dirt because I wear boots and I walk in mud, so there's some dirt on the. It's got carpet floor mats. If I had rubber mats, it wouldn't be a big deal, but it's got carpet, so there's some dirt. That is dirty for me, but there's no trash. There's no gum wrappers. There's no empty water bottle. There's no trash in my vehicles. It's just physical dirt, like dusty, which just needs a wipe down. Um, and I thought about it the other day because I was like, I got these wipes. They're actually disinfectant wipes, but I use them on the seats because it's. I think my mom gave me. It's like those plastic like containers of like you pull like a wipe. It's all connected, but you pull and tear off like a wipe. I don't know if it's Clorox brand or whatever, but it's disinfecting. But my mom, like during COVID, gave me like 3 of these things to wipe down stuff because I work on people's cars. Like keep a roll in the truck, and I use them to clean the seats. It doesn't affect the leather. I mean, you should use probably leather wipes, but I use the disinfectant wipes, and it does fine. And that's why I use the like wipe down the dash because I like them because I think it's got like alcohol in it. It doesn't leave um, a sticky residue because a lot of times you'll see these dashes where you get them like detailed and they look all shiny. I hate that. I hate real shiny because all that is like oil. They're putting like oil on your dash to make it look clean and shiny. I hate that because I feel like it attracts dust, so it gets dirty twice as fast, and I just don't like the feel of uh, the oil. I like just clean the dash. But that's why I use those Lysol wipes for. Let me see. Life is like normal here as well, but some have post-COVID symptoms, and who knows what effects will be in a couple years. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I never got vaccinated. I've heard people like, "Oh, you're an anti-vaxer." I am. I didn't trust. I mean, pretty much majority. I know my family. I'm like probably the only person that didn't get vaccinated in my family. I know at Christmas I was at my uncle's house and they were kind of talking about like, who's vaccinated, and they they looked at me. Are you vaccinated? I'm like, nope, not vaccinated. And I just something that I don't know. I guess that's a whole another conversation. But I'm not vaccinated. My wife is feeling personally attacked. She's got a bunch of masks on her turn signal, doesn't she, Matt? I bet somebody in this chat at some point tonight is like, I got masks hanging from my turn signal stock. And guess what? You should take those off. But yeah. If they're disposable and that's why they're there, just throw them away. It's crazy. The amount of litter, though, like when this happened I guess it's 2 years now. 2 years ago. I remember going to Kroger, which I don't know. To me, Kroger's everywhere, but if you don't have a Kroger, it's a grocery store. It's a big chain grocery store. Went to Kroger and just like walking out, you just see all those disposable masks, those paper ones, those blue ones that everybody has. just everywhere, like strung out through the parking lot. It was crazy. Like it was so angering to see all these masks because people like just were tossing them. Like Kroger has a trash can, just throw it in the trash can. Like I don't know the amount of litter that was caused by all the disposable stuff. Like I know like all the restaurant. Well, I think not maybe so much anymore, but a lot of the restaurants I know. Like in 2020, I only went to like a restaurant once, maybe twice. I'm trying to think. I know once for sure. I'm trying to think if I went a second time. Maybe twice. And if so, they use plastic. It was a sit down restaurant where it used to be silverware, and when we went in, it was like the tables were 6 foot apart for the mandates and stuff like that. But they no longer were using silverware. It was you got throwaway. So I'm like the amount of trash that's got to be huge because of it. And I don't even think we had glass cups. I think they were giving us paper cups, which to me, like if you're a restaurant, that's gotta be expensive to no longer use reusable. You're now using throwaways, which I didn't really get the point because like the bus boy still had to pick up your trash to throw it away. So it's not like I don't know. It didn't make sense. A lot of things happened in the last few years that just didn't make sense. But hey, I feel like we're over it. Then you have the car hoarder folks out there. I see it a lot here in PGH, Pitts, Pittsburgh, right? Like no room inside except for the driver's seat. I have not seen that. So in my 15 professional years of being a mechanic or a technician, 10 years at BMW, 5 years for Audi, I've never seen a hoarder car through those two brands. I have seen a hoarder car through Subaru. We have a Subaru shop here. Our dealership, it's we call it imports. There's 4 brands. Subaru is one of those brands. They had what I would call a hoarder car, where it was you can get into the driver's seat and that was it. Like the rest of the car was full of. It was like I didn't walk up and look at it personally, but it was there was a lot of like mail. Um, like if you just think of all your junk mail just piled up, and then I saw a lot of like baskets of clothes and stuff. So I don't know if they're homeless, but I was like, why do you have all the mail? Um, but like it was substantial. Like you couldn't see like normally like, when you're walking down the parking lot and we're getting one of our cars to work on, and you can look and you see like into the car, like you couldn't see through the car. Like there was so much stuff in it. I was like, holy cow. Raheem's taking off. Good to see you. See you next week. I don't know if I'll be here next week. This is not. I'm not going back to normal every Friday night. Just Sunday I wanted to stream, and I felt like streaming tonight and talking to you guys. So kind of not a normal thing. We're coming up on 2 hours again. It, Sunday stream was I think 2.5 hours, something like that. But yeah. Oh, my Aunt Kathy's in here. What's the M? M Kathy. I don't know the M part. What's the M? Am I being dumb right now? Michael Kathy? M Kathy. It's not Rick and Kathy. I know that. But yeah, good to see you. I never could. Von Yenzer says, I never could understand why people couldn't figure out how to dispose of mass properly. Then again, look at how much litter there was before. Makes me sick the amount of tumbleweed mass out there. It's Mary Kathy. That makes sense. Yeah, I don't understand people in general. Like it's very frustrating when you see people litter. I've literally seen people throw a bag of McDonald's trash out their car going down the road, and it's like why are people that stupid? To be honest, why are you that stupid to just throw? Like you're going somewhere. I don't know if you're going to work, you're going home, you're going to your buddy's house, wherever you're going. They have a trash can. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. If you go to a gas station, they have a trash can. Throw your trash out there. I know, like when I go up to Ohio Fish Rescue, it's a 2-hour drive, and I'll stop and like if I go in the morning, I'll stop and get Dunkin' coffee and a breakfast sandwich. Well, guess what? When I stop at a gas station, there's usually, I'm a creature of habit. There's two stops I usually make. There's one, I think it's somewhere near Mansfield. I don't know the town, I just know the exit. They have a Dunkin'. I usually stop there. If I don't stop at my house, I stop there and I get a coffee. There's a trash can there. And if I don't stop there, I usually stop at the gas station by Ohio Fish Rescue, and that's where I'll get like either a soda. I don't drink like pop very often at all. I've actually have had the most pop like in the last couple of weeks. I've had them forever because we have this vending machine now. Our old building had a vending machine, but it was way on the other side of the building, so like I never would go over there. But they put this vending machine like right by our bays, and it has like the tap your credit card thing, so you could just walk up and like tap it and hit vend. So I've had like maybe 3 or 4 Dr Peppers now in the last month or so. Um, but I don't like usually buy like pop for the house. I have splurged and gotten a 12 pack of Coke cans before because there'll be the random like I feel like having a Coke, but normally I don't buy it. I usually just drink. I usually have a half gallon of water that I drink. Aside from the coffee, I drink every day. I do have my coffee every day. And the dogs love going to Dunkin' Donuts. On Saturday, if I'm not working, I'll wake up and I'll take the dogs there and I get them. Um, they're called old fashioned donuts there. And they're like plain donuts. I called them plain. I just want a plain donut, like nothing on it. And they're like, oh, that's an old fashioned. It's just like a cake donut. And I'll get those for the girls. I'm sure it's not good for them, but they enjoy having a plain donut. And that's kind of our thing that we do on the weekend. So I'll take them there. In the summer, I would take them to Dairy Queen and get them ice cream from Dairy Queen. Or if I don't get them ice cream, the Dairy Queen by me is really awesome. They have dog treats, and they give them dog treats through the drive-up window. Mickey said Russia crossed our borders with 4 planes this week, testing us. Airspace over the Baltic Sea. Now they say 2 of the planes had nukes. It's like the freaking 80s again. Yeah, I don't know like how much. I never know about 2 things. I don't know like if I talk about political, like if you guys look back to 2 years ago, people were afraid to say the word COVID on YouTube. We would, like you're about to say COVID and then you would change it to pandemic because like you were afraid like YouTube was going to take your videos down or unmonetize you, right? So I don't know how that works with like saying nukes or Russia or whatever. I guess we'll figure out. This video should be monetized, but we'll figure that out. It's a crazy, crazy situation. I'm sure everybody has their opinions. Um, I'll give you my opinion. I'm 100% behind Ukraine. I actually have a bumper sticker on my truck. I can't. Can I show you? I'm gonna show you guys what it is. I'll have to use my phone and like. Okay, so this is gonna be kind of crappy, I'm sure, doing this, but this is the bumper. It's backwards. I'm sorry because the phone is backwards. That's a bumper sticker I put on my truck last week. So yeah, that's on my truck. I don't have any stickers on my truck. I've never bought a bumper sticker before in my life. A bumper sticker, and I put we're dangling. I put one on my truck, and that's what it is. So yeah, um, yeah. So it isn't backwards. It wasn't. It looked backwards on my phone. Huh. Well, that's good. So yeah, so that's on my truck. That's the first bumper sticker I ever bought. That's how I feel about Russia. And guys, I'll be 100% honest. I know it's not Russians. It's the government. I understand that there's a lot of people in that country that are definitely very against it, and there's a lot of people that have been lied to with their social media uh, shenanigans. I don't know what you call it, like manipulation of their social media. I get it. I'm not saying that all Russian people are horrible. I'm not. There's a ton of good Russians. Like, it's facts. There's a lot of good people there. And a lot of these people that are in this war don't even know why they're there in the first place. They're just kind of doing what they're told, which, is stupid. But I understand that if you're in the military, like, you follow your orders. Like, I get it. It's still completely 100% crappy what's going on over there. Especially, so I don't. I guess what's your guys' inputs on like media? Like I don't want to be political. Everybody says don't be political, but whatever. Um, I don't honestly trust any TV stations because I'll be honest, I don't. I feel like they're pandering to their goals, whether it's like pro left wing or pro right wing. I honestly I don't watch social or I don't watch. Oh, I really don't watch like Facebook or anything like that. So majority of my stuff is like using interfaces kind of like this, but with like TikTok. So it's people that are in Ukraine that are luckily to have internet. A lot of it's from Elon Musk did the whole what's it called Starlink, gave them Starlink and stuff like that, so they could continue to have internet. But seeing actual footage from people's cell phones is what I'm trusting more than like, oh, the news is saying this, because it's been proven that some news media like they like ran this video of like this rocket attack. Well, then somebody like, what's the word, debunks it. They're like, yeah, this, and they show the clip. This video was aired a year and a half ago in Syria or wherever, but they're running it as truth. So I try not to um, follow mainstream media. I try to go for people like you and me. Like, if I'm sitting here right now, I'm like live recording out my window and showing you what's going on. Like, that's believable. I could see it live right now. So that's what I've been watching. So majority of the stuff I'm seeing is through TikTok, and what's cool is I'm seeing a lot of the videos from like Americans that are there in Ukraine. Um, I saw like how they're getting there, like, and they're listening like, hey, you need to go do this. You need to fly here. You need to bring this because we were told we were getting this, this, and this, and actually we only got this and this. You need to bring this, and this is who you need to talk to. And there's these Americans that are on. No, when you say like when I say Americans on ground, there, it's not military. I'm sure they're all ex-military, but they're citizens like me and you that wanted to do something, and they're in Ukraine now. So, but yeah, I so that's where I'm just saying is I get my uh, opinions generated from actual citizens of Ukraine versus what the news is saying. There's a couple freelancers, if you will, that are doing geolocation checks. So they're kind of like news. It's like me being like a news, like, hey, this is what's going on today in Ukraine. Ukraine said this, Russia said this. We believe Russia is correct in what they're saying. Ukraine's correct, and this is why. And they're showing these pictures, and like they can geotag because when you take a photo, it shows your GPS location where you took that photo, and they're geotagging like where these photos were actually taken. Like, yes, this is where this was taken. Then they look at satellite pictures and like, does it match? It looks like it matches. So like, that's a little bit more trustworthy. But my thoughts are if there wasn't the N word, if there wasn't the big booms involved, this war would be over already. Just it would be. Um, I feel like if there wasn't the threat of, um, I don't even care if I get demonetized for it, but if there wasn't a threat of nukes, I think NATO would have stepped in well beyond like a long time ago. And the facts are that Russia is struggling to take over Ukraine. They would not be able to handle NATO like with a grain of salt. Like it would be over. Like I'm not trying to brag, but it's just facts. NATO would just walk all over them. And I think the thing is that we were always afraid that wouldn't be the case. Like Russia's always had this big bad personality of having this crazy army, and it turned out it just wasn't true. But the problem is they have a crazy guy that's got a ton of nuclear weapons. I think that's what all the problem is. But if he didn't have those weapons, I think the war would have been over by now, for sure. Anyways, we're holy crap, guys, we're at 2 hours. We're 5 minutes away from 2 hours. There's several YouTubers based in Ukraine putting out content. I honestly I haven't looked on YouTube for it. I really don't watch much YouTube. So, well, I kind of take that back. So there's like 2 people I watch on YouTube now. So it used to be all these fish channels, Aquarium Co-op, Ohio Fish Rescue, all these. I kind of, with my second YouTube channel, which I got a couple of videos which are growing on that channel, which is pretty cool. So if you're subscribed to my second channel, thank you so much. I've been watching more car stuff, and there's a couple car channels that I watch all the time. They're entertaining, they're funny, and educational for me, and I enjoy these car videos. I'll post. I can't tag. I can look up their channels though. I'm gonna look up these. I'll look up like one, and I don't want to overload you guys. I'll post a link to the one that I'm, I guess, most fond of. It's called Vice Grip. Links in the channel. If you guys are into cars / entertainment, it's entertaining. Like, he doesn't try to make it. It's not like Top Gear. A lot of people know about Top Gear. This is a guy that records just like me. It's a single guy. I mean, he's got a wife and kids, but it's not like a whole big operation. He finds vehicles throughout the country that are barnyard finds, not barn finds like it's a 69 Camaro mint condition that's been this. No, it's like a 69 Camaro that's been sitting outside in a hayfield for 30 years and a pack of rabid raccoons lived in it. They're not the nicest of cars, but his whole, I guess, the way he does his YouTube videos is he flies out there and his goal is to get them running where they sit and then drive them home, whether it's like an hour drive or like the last one was this his last one? So he just uploaded yesterday, but one a week ago, he drove Ford Model A. Like, if you think of the Model A, Ford, 700 miles home, and it was bought sight unseen off eBay, and it ended up being like a big piece of crap. It looked really nice on eBay. That's the video I'd watch. He uploaded it 7 days ago, and it's got 1.5 million views. It's an hour and 46 minutes long. It's a long video, but it's good. It's a good. He's just a fun guy to watch, and he's funny. He's kind of got this. The entertainment is like, I don't want to bore you guys with car stuff, but there's a car part called distributor cap, right? I'm sure you've heard of a distributor. Well, a distributor cap sends electricity to your spark plugs, right? You know what a spark plug is, or you've heard of it at least. Well, he calls a distributor cap rotates. It spins and sends electricity like cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, right? Well, he calls it a lightning whirler. And a spark plug wire, you probably heard of that. He calls that a lightning hose. And it's just funny. He just changes some of the lingo around. But he's just fun to watch. His wife gets involved in some of the videos, not very much, but same thing with his kids. He's got, I think, 3 young boys. I'm guessing they're within a couple years of each other, and they're like, I don't know, maybe 15, 13, 10 or something. I don't know. But if you're into cars at all, it's a good channel to watch. He's got 1.21 million subscribers, and he just hit 1 million subscribers like not super long ago. I would say like 2 months ago, maybe? Something like that. Maybe 3 months ago, but this year, I'm pretty sure. Mickey says the world-class L46 zebra breeder, and so is it I always want to say Kiev. Kiev. It's Kiev, right? Kiev. I think it's Kiev. Was affected or hit by bombings 2 or 3 weeks ago. Dragon Lair told us about it. Don't know what has happened to that guy since then. That's horrible. That's one of the things that angers me the most. It's like it sucks that your country's being invaded, like for like the wrong reasons. It's not like Ukraine was viciously attacking Russia and that caused Russia to invade, right? The worst part is the amount of non-military targets that have been hit. The apartment buildings, the hospitals, the school buildings, the daycares, but all the homes that have been like hit with military bombs and rockets. It's crazy, and that's what's very angering to me. I've always, I was in school when 9/11 hit, and I had that anger of that day and the whole war after that. But like the war was like kind of a war. It wasn't going to Iraq. Like I appreciate all the soldiers doing what they do, but I never had like such a internal drive of this hate for what Putin is doing right now. Like it's crazy. Like if I could go over there and help, I would. And I have never thought of that for Iraq ever. I wasn't against Iraq. I just never was like, yeah, we're doing great things, blah blah. Like over there, it's like this whole Ukraine thing. I'm like, I feel absolutely horrible for them. So yeah, but that's sad. Like when you can start putting stuff that like the breeder um, in Kiev, like that sucks. There's a lot of propaganda on all sides of the conflict. Oh, for sure. I mean that's war. And the other thing I remember too is wars are profitable for a lot of people, unfortunately. All right, where are we at on time? Well, I don't even know where my thing went. So I started streaming less than a minute ago, according to my YouTube page over here. But my phone is saying 2 hours and 2 minutes ago. So, anyways, I think I'm going to wrap up a 2 hour live stream. I went early. I went at 7:30, so I wouldn't be on super late tonight because I got to work tomorrow. And I told you guys I like going to bed like 9 o'clock. So I'm probably going to hop off of here. I'm probably going to go. I started a new TV series on Netflix. I just started it yesterday on my lunch break. What's it called? I don't know. It's like some French name. Bridgerton. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's set back like in the 1800s in London. It's about these like two rich families that are all trying to find people, husbands and wives, basically. I don't know if it's like a drama, romantic TV series. I don't know. It's pretty good. It's better than I thought it would be. I guess I heard it on the radio. They were talking about season 2 was on the radio. Like I've never even heard of this series. So I went home on lunch and I started season 1. I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. The Regency era. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm gonna go hang out with the dogs, and go to bed because I got work tomorrow. Stay healthy. Stay tanking along. Whatever I used to say. Keep tanking along. So yeah, it was good talking to all you guys. We talked about all random stuff, car stuff, current event stuff, past current event stuff, fish stuff. Yeah. So anyways, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'll see you when I see you. I don't know if I'll see you next week. I don't know if I'll see you tomorrow. Might see you Sunday. I don't know. I'm trying to do this whole, like, I'll go live and I'll try to set it up a couple hours in advance, so hopefully it sends out notifications. I don't know when I'll see you, but I'll see you when I see you. Um, Thank you, Von Yunzer, for, I don't know if you're still here, if you left already. I think you say how to leave. Thank you for the order. It will ship out this coming week. But I'll see you guys. Mickey, hopefully everything stays good in Sweden for you. Prayers to you guys and all your nearby countrymen. But I'll see you guys. Crap, how do you end this? And Charlie's here. Come here. You want to say bye? You want to say bye? Wait. Can you see yourself? You're right here. You're right here. Yeah, she's deaf.